Welcome back to Layman Ministry Studio. We have Pastor Johnson with us here from India, and this is actually part 2 of a 2-part series of an interview with Pastor Johnson. In our last interview, we talked about the new television studio that was recently built and the dedication that took place there, and also some of the other things surrounding evangelism and outreach and some of the new plans that we have. You definitely want to get Program 1 and this program, Program 2. Contact our ministry at the address or the website email at the end and request the DVDs. But Pastor Johnson, we had a lot of exciting things that we were talking about on the last program,
right, yeah.
and way more than we can even show in 2 or 3, 4, 5 interviews. But one of the things that was really, to me, is really intriguing is, since we've been working together for almost 18 years, Layman Ministries has been 18 years now in India, and you've been working with Pastor Shadrach and for a number of years there, and so we've been there for quite a while. And how many churches have we established or been involved with helping to establish, do you think, over the years? Do you have a rough idea?
More than 60 churches.
60?
Yeah.
60 churches?
You are right.
Wow, it's a really amazing thing how God is blessed in that way.
You are right. Because the work, it is carefully, very systematically we did so far. So that's the main reason. And there are many people supported this. People were praying for us. And also, our evangelism is a complete package, kind of door to door, and printing material, and website evangelism, and evangelistic meeting, revival meetings. And it is
baptisms and then church planting. And
yes.
So at the very onset, you said one of the first things that we're involved with this is television ministry. And we're currently producing 9 programs per week. This television ministry kind of sets a credibility precedence in a sense. And so then you start targeting areas with Bible workers. Is that how it works?
Yeah, Bible workers, because we see how our response in various area. Then we will send our Bible workers. The Bible workers will go, they stay like 4 months. And the first month is a kind of a groundwork, friendship. The second month is a group Bible study, forming group Bible study. The third month is evangelistic meeting. The fourth month, identify the church place, how kind of house church and all that.
I'm smiling a little bit because we have 23, 24 Bible workers and 2 pastors that oversee 2 teams, like 12 in each team. And the reason I'm smiling is that every year when I go to India, I meet with the Bible workers.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so then after the Bible workers go and establish Bible studies in an area, what's the next step?
Then after that, we will plant a church in that particular, we search the place, we'll put a temporary shed so that people can come and worship.
Sometimes these are on top of a house.
You're right.
And then after that?
Then we will appoint Bible workers to take care of the church. Then after 1 or 2 months, then we will inform to the conference. Then the conference president, they will come, see the church member. Then they will take a responsibility. They will appoint a pastor. So like that, it's a kind of systematic work. And also, there are some failure we had experience. In some places, we did a groundwork and started a church and everything. But finally, most of the Baptist members became backsliding and some members gone. Then what we do, we again send the Bible workers there and do a groundwork again for months. Hold a meeting.
Meet some of the same people over again?
You are right. So we won't leave kind of people say, okay, they give baptism. No, we will find a way.
I see what you're saying. So oftentimes, and I've seen this in this quick evangelistic methods where they baptize people, people join the church, and then boom, there's no more support, the people backslide, and some places it's probably as high as 60, 70%. And how does evangelism play into this as far as one of the steps? And what is your relationship with Pastor Shadrach Samuel as far as, like organizing evangelism as follow-up in regard to what the Bible workers are doing?
What we will do is, in all the places, sometimes we may not hold evangelistic meeting, because to hold an evangelistic meeting, it is expensive Sometimes it costs money. And but for our evangelistic meeting, we spend like 1,500 to 1,800 or 2,000 US dollar. But still, sometimes we may not have money. So what we will do, some places, we will hire a marriage hall. Because in the month of January, in the month of July, August, in the month of November, no marriage will happen in the months.
And this has to do with a little bit of the superstitions of people thinking it's bad luck to get married in those
You are
months.
right. You are right.
So what a better place to have an evangelistic meeting than in a marriage hall
You
to
are right.
introduce people to the bride of Christ.
You are
in the
right.
church, yeah. To
Yeah,
get married,
exactly.
married to Christ.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So in 2012, how many baptisms have taken place?
In 2012, we given through our ministry, there are 624 baptisms.
624
baptisms.
baptisms. When I was there just a couple weeks ago with you in India, you had some baptisms. In fact, it wasn't planned or anything because I was there. It was like you were even surprised, like, these people are getting baptized this Sabbath. I didn't know that. What was the situation with them, and how many people were baptized?
9 people were taken baptism that day, because usually we will tell our Bible workers at the end of the month, the last week, the 4th week, we usually have the baptism, because we encourage the Bible workers before they come for the giving the report or getting the salary, they have to finish that month work, giving Bible study and all the target they have to, because they have an assignment. It is not a compulsory, but it is an assignment we have given to each Bible workers. It is not simply we cannot do, because our God is a God of law and order. So we have given, okay, every month you have this target, this house, this many house.
So it's almost what I've noticed is certain things happen certain months.
You are right.
Evangelism happens certain months because of the marriage halls being available, or sometimes evangelism happens maybe in different situations too. And then baptisms happen certain months.
You are right.
So far in 2013, how many people have been baptized so far this year? And this is like, we're in April right now, so how many people have been baptized so far?
You were 38 baptism.
38 baptisms.
Yeah.
And it's really important for our viewers to understand that, as you caught what Pastor Johnson was saying, is these people are not the kind of people that get baptized and slip through the cracks. These are people who are grounded in understanding Bible truth in connection with what we're talking about. We had an interesting evangelistic series that happened in Vellore, India. And Vellore, India, of course, if anybody's been in South India, knows that this is a kind of like a place where a Christian missionary years ago established a medical college. And so there's a hospital there, and there's a lot of professional people, nurses and doctors and such. And there was a particular doctor there that had an idea, who's longtime friends with Pastor Shadrach. What did you and Pastor Shadrach and these medical professionals do in Vellore here just a few months ago?
Generally, Pastor Shadrach and myself, we have a different strategy. For the northern part of Chennai, we have a different strategy. For the southern part of Chennai, we have different strategy.
When you say different strategy, you mean you still agree with each other, but you have a different way of implementing what you're doing.
Implementing the work.
I got you.
Yeah, implementation, because we cannot work in the northern part of Chennai same like southern part of Chennai.
And the reason for that?
It's for the people, because northern part is working class.
Like fishermen and builders, and maybe kind of a little rougher part of town, right?
And the southern part, it is a middle class and the high class IT people and all that.
Well,
So,
professional people.
Professional people. So we have a strategy to implement each place. So on that one, last year 2012 and 2011, Pastor Shadrach is one of the powerful preacher, and he always invited by many people around India and abroad also. So Vellore is a unique place. All our Adventist doctors, they gathered, and the students, their passion to reach the non-Adventist. Because there we don't need a Bible study, because everybody knows Jesus and all that. So here Dr. Anand and his team members, goal is to share the three angels message, also the Sabbath truth. So then Dr. Anand called me, what's your schedule? Then we discussed, Pastor Shadrach and myself. Then we had a discussion with them. So they told their passion is to reach the non-Adventist with the Sabbath truth.
So what they decided to do is have a series of meetings that Pastor Shadrach every evening would speak just upon the principles of the Sabbath.
Sabbath.
And then in the afternoon, he was holding meetings on the book of Daniel or something like that
You
in
were
the
right.
mornings. How many people actually attended these meetings knowing that it was going to be about the seventh-day Sabbath?
Usually when we have the meeting like that, people, the attendance will be kind of less. But because of this groundwork, they hired a marriage hall. The marriage hall was full, overflow. It is almost like 350 people. Like that.
Yeah, Dr. Anand was talking about people were standing on the sides of the walls and in the back, and there was quite a number of people, and these are all non-Seventh-day Adventist people, that signed like information cards
Yes.
showing that they had an interest. How many people signed cards?
It is the 75 people. They were
75 people?
75 people. And also they have a baptism, and are the few very good people. They gave their hearts to Jesus. And there are few people that you also met them, and they are on the way of decision to take a baptism soon.
Let's really quickly just take our viewing audience to Vellore and meet Dr. Anand, and let's go there really quick. So how did this meeting start?
I was invited by Dr. Anand for a meeting here to speak. This is from Lehman Ministries. And Pastor Dr. Anand and many of his friends, Brother Vivek and several others from the church here, they planned for this meeting.
So you said you were going to try a different approach with these meetings. What was that approach?
Yeah, normally we try to present many of our doctrines in the second meeting. We talk of state of the dead, we talk of second coming, we talk of millennium, and by doing when we present Sabbath, we don't have enough time to present one topic fully. So this time we thought we'll have a little different approach. We thought we had meetings for 5 days, and we thought we would present Sabbath on all 5 days, so we'd be able to cover the topic in its entirety as much as possible.
So you had the meetings for 5 nights, and you were going to focus just on the Sabbath in the evenings. And were you doing any other meetings then during the day too? or-
Yes, we had a
What were-
Bible study during the daytime.
Uh-huh.
Not many people could come because people go to work, but quite a few people came.
And so in the evening meetings, how many people showed up?
Evening meeting, well, around 300, sometimes more.
The hall was full. I mean, the capacity was only around 250.
When I went to invite my friends for these meetings, people were very intrigued by the title, because the title was What the Bible Says. It was in Tamil, of course. So they were kind of intrigued as to what the Bible really says. And the topics, when I just handed out this flyer, the handout to one of my friends, the first title was God's Love Letter. And he was kind of taken aback. What is this love letter from God? I want to just come to listen to that
That subject.
talk. That's that talk. But through, even though the predominant theme was Sabbath, but it was so beautifully kind of incorporated into other beautiful truths of the Bible that people just came in to find out what the Word of God really has to say. And that's my bit that I put in. Nothing much.
Yeah, before Pastor started off with this Bible topic, we gave a short health talk, which was applicable for our people here in the local area. Talked about balanced diet, kind of nutrition, how to take care of joint pains and things like that. So every day we had a short talk for about half an hour.
So can I ask you a question? Do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Yeah, definitely.
No, do you believe in the Sabbath?
Yeah.
Do you believe that he's going to come very soon?
Yeah, definitely.
So you're an Adventist, you just don't know it.
One thing.
You know, I find it really exciting when I hear about lay people getting involved with church work. You know, it's like a lot of times we have this mentality that the pastor is the one that's got to go out and do the ministry, but really the responsibility for ministry rests upon the laity of the church. And when I hear about lay people like yourselves getting involved, teaming up with someone who's an evangelist like Pastor Shadrach, it's a real special thing for me, a real blessing to hear about that. When I met with these people, I was just so excited because it thrilled my heart to see that these people are not pastors. These people are just lay people in the church that had a burden on their heart to do evangelism, using lay people in connection with some pastors, doing visitation, going out doing like the work with the Bible workers, and then holding these special kind of meetings. That it reminded me of a statement by a former General Conference president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'd like to read it to you really quick.
Good.
It's taken from 1912 in March at the Ministerial Institute in Los Angeles, California. A.G. Daniels, who was then the General Conference president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, made this assessment between the work of the laity and the clergy in Adventism. This is what he says: "We have not settled ministers over our churches as pastors to any large extent. In some of the very large churches, we have elected pastors, but as a rule, we have held ourselves ready for field service, evangelistic work, and our brothers and sisters have held themselves ready to maintain the church services and carried forward their church work without settled pastors." So he's saying that the pastors basically and the church leaders were out doing evangelism and doing visitation and things like that, and the lay people were running the church and taking care of the Bible studies. And then he goes on to say this: "And I hope this will never cease to be the order of affairs in this denomination. For when we cease our forward movement and begin to settle over our churches, to stay by them," and he's talking about the pastors, "to stay by them, settle over the churches, do their thinking and their praying and the work that is to be done, then the churches will begin to weaken and to lose their life and spirit and become paralyzed and fossilized, and our work will be on the retreat."
Amen.
And I thought, what a prophetic statement. You know, when the pastor assumes all the responsibilities of the church and the lay people just sit back and do nothing, put some money in an offering plate and complain about whether the pastor preached a good sermon or not.
Yeah, right.
It's like that whole view is distorted. And what we've initiated as Layman Ministries in India is to change that whole principle to get the lay people involved with evangelism.
And also for your information, they are all doctors. The Vellore Christian Medical Hospital and College, it is a very huge system. They have hundreds of beds, and the patient come throughout India. So the point is, the doctors are very busy, but in spite of that, they have taken a time. And now, for your information, this coming summer, they are planning for a English congregation to reach the English-speaking people.
Like the English-speaking educated people in that
Right.
area there.
Right.
So our ministry is kind of twofold. We work in some areas with the poor and uneducated, and then in other areas we're working with very professional people, very educated people,
Yeah.
which is a really
Yeah.
a big blessing to be able to have such a spectrum of different people to be working with. While I was there was an interesting situation that took place with an Arise, Shine, kind of like a revival evangelistic series that took place right by the Chennai International Airport. And tell us a little bit about how did that little group get established there originally, like a year or two ago, and how the lay people got involved and how Shadrach was preaching there doing evangelism.
And in the year 2007, we had an evangelistic meeting very close to the airport. Due to some reason, we were not able to conduct a church in that place because the local people were they are not giving the place to hold a worship service. So we decided, in spite of that, very close to the airport, we wanted to move a little bit away. So we moved a little away and did a groundwork 4 months
With Bible workers?
with
again?
our Bible workers. And as I said earlier, in this place we didn't have any evangelistic meeting. At the end of the 4th month, we hired a place. And in that meeting hall, we arranged a meeting. And at the end, people, almost 32 people took baptism.
Wow, and they established kind of like a small company there, or a small new church.
Yeah.
And so these people then just after they were baptized and such, became bored and sat around and twiddled their thumbs and didn't do anything?
No, what happened is the two things I want to share. Number one, that small church, now the offering is every month it is $400, huge dollar.
For in India, that's a lot.
That's a huge dollar.
So these people became active.
Yes.
So what was the next point?
The next point is when you came, they want to have a honor the layman ministry, and also they want to witness their neighbors. What is Sabbath? So in spite of that meeting in the church, the one layman who took a baptism recently through our evangelistic meeting and the Bible worker visitation, he spent his own money, put a shed, arranged a food for the Sabbath potluck lunch, kind of like that. He arranged everything at his own expense. And it was a wonderful experience. And I know the time is very short, otherwise I can share a story. His name is Raman. Raman is a Hindu god. And he and his wife, and they have two children. But his two children are not easy. They are like a good dadas,
No, they're kind of like gangsters.
gangster,
Yeah,
right?
You said, I think I met them actually. They're,
Yeah.
they're bodybuilders.
Yeah, very
They're
kind of
strong
Yeah, very
guys.
strong guys. And one fine day, when Mrs. Ramana is on the market, they met our Bible workers, and the Bible workers went to the home and they prayed. And when they went next time, the youngest son took a drug
He was
and
taking drugs and drinking alcohol.
alcohol and lying on the ground. And our Bible workers, they are kind of fear and crossing him and
Stepping over him?
stepping over him and entering into the home. Then, oh, who is that entering into my home?
He woke up.
Okay, and shouted, "Get lost! We don't
He actually threatened to kill the Bible workers.
Bible
right?
workers. We don't need a prayer. We don't want anything. Just go out." Then our Bible worker got scared. They slowly came. Then Mrs. Raman will call our Bible workers. "Oh, no, my son is not here. So please come." Then our Bible workers will go. When they go, when they were giving Bible study, this fellow will come. Oh, with a full alcohol and drug,
And threatening again.
threatening again. One day our pastor, the supervisor, he saw his younger son and ran. And finally, it is because of the Bible workers prayed earnestly. They took a fasting and prayed. Then they got a release from the jail. And now they are very happy, and their sons were studying in our
They
school.
started Bible studies with the Bible workers.
You
didn't
are
they?
right.
And when I was there, I met the one older brother.
Yeah.
And he and his wife, they told us, in fact, I'd like to cut away to that really quick just now and just share with you what he said. Some of our Bible workers just showed up, and these are the two Bible workers that actually came to the house here and visited them. Was it like 2 years ago now? A little over 2 years? 3 years ago?
2 years.
2 years ago. And Pastor Johnson, tell us about these Bible workers here and their
Her name
relationship.
is Soundari, and her name is Rosemary.
Rosemary.
These both Bible workers met Mrs. Sarah in the market. "Shall we come to your home?" Then they came to the home.
Why did she ask them to come to the home?
Because of the challenges in the home. If you pray, God will take away everything.
When you Bible workers came to the home, were you well received by the whole family?
No, it is because they every day whenever they come with a fear because but
Why did they have a fear?
and the fear is brother in those days he and his
Younger brother?
addicted to a lot of alcohol and other things.
And you said they were bodybuilders. And
Yeah, they were bodybuilder, very strong personality. So that's why they were kind of
And Pastor Joseph is the one that leads out our team here, right?
coordinating the work.
Yeah, so we have two teams of Bible workers. This is Team B, they call it, right? Layman Ministries Bible Worker, Team B.
You are right.
Well, good. That's a blessing. And when I heard what he was sharing about how they were happy now and everything, you could see how Christ changed their lives. Really quickly, we only have just a little bit more time, but let's talk about literature, because literature is a really big part of our ministry there. And with our new center, we're going to be able to have a place now to consolidate all of our literature, package and box it, and ship it out to all the different contacts that call the ministry in regards to the television programs and the needs of the Bible workers. What do we currently have available in the Tamil language, and what kind of things do we need to print? And how important is this literature to our work there?
I feel publishing work is very important because the print material will be in the home. When they are kind of troubled, they will take and read it. So kind of example, Great Controversy, Desire of Ages, Steps to Christ, and our ministry is the first one who initiated to print in Tamil language. And now we have out of stock.
So right now we need to reprint some of these books, and you and I have talked about printing the Desire of Ages like in a series of smaller books, and Great Controversy in a series of smaller books. We've printed Steps to Christ, I think 2, maybe 3 times now in the last 10, 12 years.
You were right.
These books need to be reprinted. They're valuable, aren't they, for our work there?
Yes, very important, because for the TV viewers, for the door-to-door evangelism, for our evangelistic meeting, and also we are sending books to Sri Lanka, France, Europe, Middle East, and
There's Tamil-speaking people all
Yeah.
over the world. In Malaysia,
Malaysia, Australia, we need books. And to print a Great Controversy, kind of a Great Hope, it costs 40 cents for each book. And we are planning for 5,000
and so this would be 5,000 each little small book.
small books.
So the Great Controversy would be broken up like 5 parts probably.
You are right.
And so how much would that cost altogether to
Altogether, maybe like 10,000 US.
10,000 US dollars? Same for Desire of Ages.
Yeah, same thing like that.
And Steps to Christ is an invaluable book. I
You
mean,
are
we
right.
really need that. How much would it cost to do 5,000 small, great Steps to Christ?
That is 5,000 US dollar.
Our time is up. Pastor Johnson, it's always great to have you here with us. And if you want to get this whole 2-part series on a DVD, you can contact our ministry at Layman Ministries, 414 Zapata Road, St. Mary's, Idaho, 83861. Or you can call us at our toll-free number in the United States at 1-800-245-1844, or get us on the web at www.lmn.org.